Welcome to the Voiceless podcast. We're here for another episode. I'm your host, Meech, aka Scooney Mac, aka Young Meech, and we're here talking about wrestling. You know, anytime we're talking about wrestling, we got the co-host who's down in Atlanta. Say what up to the people.
Yo, the beast sleeping in the East, the one and only John Wiley. What's going on, everybody?
Yes, sir. We're back for another episode, and I know we usually talk about wrestling. And we got a lot to get into when it comes to wrestling because it's been a while since we've done a podcast talking about wrestling. But I do got to start off with this for you, John. You know what time it is. Tomorrow is game one of the NBA Finals. So I want to get your predictions on the Lakers versus Miami Heat. Who do you think is going to win the series and how many games?
That's a rough one, but I'm going to have to lean on the Lakers due to the fact they've been dominant throughout this entire season. And then not the season, but, throughout this entire playoff run. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, their team synergy is a lot better. But then again, though, Jimmy Butler, Tyler Hero, and the rest of the cast on in Miami, though, are pulling off something that no one expected them to do. Because people thought they were going to lose in the first round, and here they are. Exactly. But I'm going to say it's going to go probably to the Lakers, and it's probably going to go to game 5 or 6.
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I think it can go 6, but my prediction is in 5. I got the Lakers in 5. Miami, I think each game is going to be good, though. I think the games are going to be good. It's going to be close, but I feel like the Lakers are just going to have enough to pull away in the fourth quarter of each game, and Miami may get 1, possibly 2. But I think it's time for LeBron to get that 4th championship ring for the Lakers and get AD, Anthony Davis' first championship. But that's it. We're going to get right into the wrestling. Now, I know you wanted to start off with just giving a rundown of everything that's going on in the whole wrestling landscape. So I'm going to pass the reins to you.
So, first things first. Miro, a.k.a. Rusev, has joined AEW. And apparently, with some help from, Chris Jericho and taking some talking to from, Ryback, they convinced him to join AEW and their wonderful cast of characters. Honestly, I am excited for Rusev because I got to watch Rusev's Twitch channel. I got to understand the man, a.k.a. Miro. Miro's a really cool dude, and I wish him the best of luck, but hopefully they give him his respect over there and treat him the way he should be supposed to be, which is a big, intimidating dude. And try to make AEW not look like a joke at week in and week out. Now, I don't know, how do you feel about it, though, man?
I feel like Rusev, a.k.a. Miro, I feel like he deserves that opportunity. I mean, obviously WWE had to make cutbacks, but I felt like WWE was eventually going to bring him back. But, due to COVID, there's no fans in the arena right now. So a lot of that money you used to earn from the fans being in attendance, you don't earn anymore. So I'm assuming that's why the WWE had to make a lot of cuts and, release a lot of wrestlers and refs, and they released a lot of people. So, but I'm happy for Rusev. I'm happy for Miro, and I think he's gonna do good in AEW. But I still don't know exactly how great he's gonna do. But I'm hoping for the best for him, and then I expect him to be back in the WWE whenever his contract ends. I'm not sure how long of a contract he signed, but I believe after his contract, he will be back in the WWE when things begin to become more normal again. Fans will be back in attendance and all that type of stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see what Miro would do in AEW, and hopefully they make the most out of him, unlike the WWE did in his last run. It seemed like Rusev, every time, it seemed like he would get the fans to love him with Rusev Day, and the WWE would get him close to winning a championship, and he would just lose. They didn't really capitalize off of the love the fans were giving him for the whole Rusev Day chants and everything like that. So hopefully AEW gives him the love he deserves.
Gotcha. I respect that. All right, and one more thing we're going to talk about from overseas. There's a wrestler named Okada, and him and his friends were in a wrestling storyline that lasted for 7 years. And it was a group made of pretty much of misfit wrestlers and outsiders. And so far, it was one of those groups that wasn't particularly like a heel group. They're kind of like DX, where they're not quite a heel group, but they did what they wanted, and the fans were behind them 100%. And then they just got done with having a fallout, and one of their members having to do pretty much like the equivalent of a death match out there. And I have to say, it was a pretty good 7-year run, especially for someone to catch up and go watch the thing happen. So shout outs to Okada. And could you imagine a 7-year storyline in the WWE?
That's what I'm saying. Like, all this is news to me. I first off, I have never heard of this until just now. And a 7-year storyline, that, man, it had to been great, or it was just too long of a storyline. But yeah, I mean 7-year storyline. They had to put something together with that, because that's a long storyline to continue to try to, you know, make us or make the fans enjoy it in a sense. But if they were able to do it, then that's more power to them.
Yep. Imagine like the Undertaker in a 7-year storyline with like Randy Orton or something like that. Be crazy.
I don't want to see no 7-year storylines in the WWE. I feel like we dang near got a 7-year storyline with John Cena and Randy Orton, and at one point in time, when John Cena and Randy Orton was facing each other like every pay-per-view, man, that felt like a 7-year storyline, and that felt too much, and that wasn't a 7-year storyline. So I don't know if they're able to pull it off. And if they were able to, all of our Japanese wrestling fans out there, let us know if they were able to pull it off, if y'all really enjoyed it, because I have no idea. I have no idea. But yeah, do you have any more things that came across the wrestling landscape you would like to bring up?
Honestly, WWE is doing things that I wanted them to do, which is just making matches outside the ring. But I have to say out the special highlight match, which was a bar fight between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. And they actually did a pretty good job of making this bar fight entertaining and somewhat believable. So hey, man, hats off to them. And this match happened a couple weeks ago, but I meant to bring it up last time and I forgot. Honestly, though, SmackDown's looking like the better show, and it's better than Raw at times.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that's my wrap up for, wrestling from around the world and around the territories.
Yeah, so actually I did watch that match. That was a pretty good match. But Jeff Hardy, and like, this is a great transition to the first match of Clash of Champions with Sami Zayn versus Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles for the Undisputed Intercontinental Championship, which was in a ladder match. This is a great transition because all in my notes, all I got for that match is just Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy, man, I don't even know how old Jeff Hardy is, but he's been doing it for so long. So I just got to give Jeff Hardy his roses while he's still here. Jeff Hardy is just, I mean, this guy is, to me, got to be the king of ladder matches. And just, even after putting his body through so much pain throughout these years, he's still doing it. He's still doing it. Like, do you remember that part where...
Jeff is,
yeah, go ahead.
Jeff is 43, by the way, but I was about to say, remember when they had the ladder upside down, he landed in between the ladder parts?
That's what I'm saying. I was just about to say that, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm like, bro, that looks dangerous, and it looks like it hurts a lot. I gotta know, what's his pain tolerance, man? You need to have a TV show just starring him in the pain tolerance to see what he can go through.
Jeff Hardy, like, the part where he was on the ladder and he was trying to, like, crawl down while Sami Zayn pushed him over outside the ring, I was just like, that looked like that was like almost the last we was about to see of Jeff. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. But Jeff, he got back up, and then he did even more. He did his iconic Swanton bomb off the ladder onto Sami Zayn when he was on another ladder. It's just like this dude's Jeff Hardy just keeps on adding to his legacy after all these years.
Yeah. Man. There's two things I want to talk about though in this match that I'm be critical of. So I'm gonna attack one thing though. Sami Zayn. I like the fact that Sami Zayn's a heel and he proves he's a good heel, but yo, they gotta do more to change his character. Why is he a heel and he has this happy, upbeat music, and on top of that, it's like his character does not reflect what goes on in everything he does. And I'm just like, can we switch it up entirely? Like reinvent the character? Because they did a good job with Bayley and reinventing her character, but nah, man, Sami Zayn, seems like they don't give him the proper attention he deserves.
That's actually really true. Funny thing is, I didn't really think about that when I was watching this match, but now that you brought that up, he definitely does need an entrance song change because he is a heel. And since you brought that up, I did want to mention, I did like Sami Zayn's like craftiness, like with his character. He seems like he always, since he's been heel, he looks for ways to kind of snake his way through to win a match, like the end of the match. Like the whole bringing out the handcuffs, he put the handcuffs through Jeff Hardy's earlobe, basically, like, and then had him handcuffed to the ladder, and then he did the same thing with handcuffing AJ Styles to the ladder. So I liked it, and then having the key in his mouth to unlock the handcuff or him being handcuffed to AJ Styles. Like, I like Sami Zayn's craftiness, and I like the finish to the match. But yeah, that is definitely true. He needs an entrance song change just to even, finally confirm like he's heel completely.
I got, yeah. Another thing to talk about in this match. This is probably my last talking point though, other than AJ Styles being phenomenal. Referees feel like they're irrelevant now, man. In wrestling in general, it feels like they're just nameless, maskless guys that are there. And it's weird because back in the day, I used to know all the referees' names. And it's crazy nowadays, they're just like people to be there. And what bothers me most is that the refs don't even come up to people when they're like, when they obviously do something dangerous, you know what I'm saying? At least have them pretend they're checking on somebody or something like that, right? They're not even there to do that. They just like kind of, and I remember it was right when Jeff Hardy did that really bad looking bump where he landed in between the ladder. The ref kind of walked up to him for 2 seconds and backed away. I'm like, what are you doing? At this point, what's the point of even having referees in the match? And if they're not even going to be attentive, I feel like they got to fix that, man. Fix that.
It's funny. I wonder if the wrestlers kind of tell the referees to back off though a little bit because, like, especially like someone like Jeff Hardy, even though he looks like he really be hurting himself, I'm pretty sure a lot of that is him selling and maybe also him actually really hurting himself. But I feel like a lot of it is selling, and I feel like he probably wouldn't want the refs to be like, too much on him. Because you got to remember, Jeff Hardy's from the Attitude Era. Back when, I don't remember. I feel like the refs kind of do check on them a good amount now though, because a lot of times where they see like something that looks like it really hurts, they really be like, they try to they try to at least ask the wrestler or something like that if they're all right or something like that. You could see it, usually show it, but yeah, in terms of like knowing these referees, I don't know any of these refs. Like back in the day, I knew Earl Hebner and all them, but I don't know any of these referees.
Yeah, like I said, they feel like they've been phased out completely. And then this is why I bring it up, because it feels like, man, their presence is so irrelevant. I didn't even notice they were there that match. That's why I bring it up.
Yeah.
And then I think, oh man, and then the only thing I have an issue with, though, I feel like this is like a creativity issue. You notice I want you to take a drinking game, right? Every time someone gets pulled down by their leg when they're getting up on the ladder during that match. I'm like, everybody's getting pulled down the same exact way. They need to stop that. I'm like, God dang it. You got all these high flyers and these lightweight, cruiserweight dudes, and you tell me you couldn't come up with a more imaginative way other than holding on to a dude's leg? Come on, man. Other than that, that's my last grab of the match. Other than that, solid match, great opener, entertaining. It didn't make me want to skip a minute. Good job.
This match is probably in my top 3 matches of the night, and it was for a while during watching Clash of Champions, it was my favorite match until I got towards the end. But I'm a save my favorite match towards the end. But let's move on to Zelena Vega versus Asuka for the Raw Women's Championship. And yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I was very surprised, man. Zelena Vega can do a lot. I thought she was just there to be a manager. That's like I kind of see why. She's cute, she can talk, and on top of that, she's great she does great at doing at being a manager. She doesn't mess up a lot of things. But when I got to see her in the ring with Asuka, I was like, wait, you can wrestle? You can do this? You can work? Like, why were you? It just didn't make any sense. But then again, no, they don't use her that often, so she probably did do it a lot. I just didn't notice. And but yeah, I'd like to see her as a singles competitor. She's very good.
I thought the same exact thing. Basically for me, I was just very impressed by Zelena Vega, and then to me, she has star potential. But I can tell she needs more experience. Like, she just needs to be in more matches, get more comfortable in the ring. Like, you could tell Asuka is super comfortable in the ring, and Bayley is super comfortable. Like, they look like they're at ease in the ring. And for her, it's like Zelena Vega, she still needs to get more experience and everything like that. But other than that, it did make me think of like why. It made me think of like there must be a lot more wrestlers in the WWE that we don't even know that have a lot of potential, but they're just not getting the shine that they deserve, really. Because to me, I'm like, she was very impressive to me, and I'm like, is this her first match I've really ever watched? I'm like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Hey man, I'll give you a grand example. Remember Leo Rush?
Yeah.
Yeah, that dude is a super highly athletic for a wrestler that they had managed Bobby Lashley, which made no sense. Because the dude is just as less athletic as Ricochet, almost. Ricochet's on another level, but it's like, why did we waste his whole entire time making him the manager for Bobby Lashley? It didn't make no sense. Yeah. That was a wasted opportunity.
And then when he got over as a manager of Bobby Lashley, they just kind of got rid of him at a point when it was like they were actually doing really good together to me. And Leo Rush was actually good on the mic. And then I learned of how good he is actually in the ring, and it's just like they kind of did nothing with him. And he's another one of those that they kind of missed out on to me. But hopefully in the future they bring him back. And well, is he even in the WWE right now? Actually, I have no idea.
He was released in that big let go, but from what I understood, there was a backstage issue between him and Finn Balor, which pretty much put the nail in the coffin. Because after a while, he stopped showing up on TV.
Yeah, hopefully he gets a chance to make his way back to WWE, because I feel like he has a lot of star potential too. But let us move on. Now, see, when we move on to this match, Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews for the United States title, all I really got to say about this is Apollo Crews, great inside the ring. We always say this, but the character, and I'm tired of having to say this, but his character, it lacks. He lacks charisma. The character, like he lacks. I don't even know what the character is, but we always say that. But once again, I'm gonna just say this: Apollo Crews is a great wrestler inside the ring. He needs more character development, like we always say. And Ricochet needs to be used better, because he was just managing Apollo Crews, and I'm like, what are they doing with Ricochet? But that's all that really stood out to me in that match. That match was, it was a solid match. But yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the fact, right, that you got a new version of the Nation of Domination in the Hurt business. You got what you wanted.
Yeah, it's funny. I always was saying that, but I feel like they need a little bit more star quality. Like, what I mean is, they're great. I like the Hurt business. I love MVP, what he's doing. I love how he's on the mic, his charisma. I love Bobby Lashley as United States champion, but I just feel like they need another piece that has star quality that would put them over the edge. Kind of like when the Nation of Domination got The Rock, and it just took them over the top. I feel like the Hurt business needs that extra star quality, like someone that has a potential of being the best in the business that they help build up. And I feel like they just need that one extra person.
You want Cuz from the NXT to be in there then?
I always thought, I think if what's his name?
Valentine.
Yeah,
Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, Velveteen Dream. That's actually my favorite wrestler right now. If he joined, I feel like that would take them over the top. Velveteen Dream would take them over the top. Or even if I had to, and if I had to throw something else out there that's just a little bit different, when I think about the Street Profits and I think about Montez Ford, if he joined, because I think he has star potential. If he joined and he was a singles competitor, but I don't think you should break up the Street Profits yet. But if they did do that, I wouldn't be mad at it exactly.
I agree.
But yeah, definitely I look at Velveteen Dream would take them over the top. You got anything else you want to say about that match? Bobby Lashley versus Apollo Crews?
Other than I feel like Bobby Lashley is finally getting his dues because he's finally being utilized correctly, which is kind of crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still think if they had, Brock Lesnar around, Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar would have been the thing. I was going to actually bring up something a little after we're done with this topic. I was going to tell you about like my theory on what they should do with Brock Lesnar if he ever comes back.
Oh, did you even hear my theory? Wait, did we talk about that on the podcast the last time we did it? Because I'm like, I can't remember what video I talked about me having a theory about Brock Lesnar, but yeah, that'd be interesting. After we do the Clash of Champions, I want to know if we probably have the same theory. Let us move on to Street Profits versus Angel Garza and Andrade.
All right, I like both Angel Garza and Andrade. There was one really scary looking bump they did on Montez Ford. I don't understand. It looked very heelish, but it was on the turnbuckle on the right side. You know what I'm talking about? When he kind of jumped in and kicked him in the face.
Oh yeah, I know you.
That was a really rough looking bump because it really looked like he kicked him in the face. It's like, ooh, that looked like it hurt. Is he okay?
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, Montez Ford's partner, forgot his name. I'm so sorry, but this was like the first match I'd seen him in where he was kind of slow. I was like, what's going on? It might be just an off day, but that was like the first time he looked slow. Just slow and rough to work with. But other than that, though, nah. Pretty good match. And on top of that, I'm surprised they've held these titles on them this long. It's been like, what, 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Since they had the belt?
Yeah.
I am surprised, because typically, when a black guys get the belt, it only lasts 2 months. It don't last that long. It don't... Or if not, they don't even get it. Like Crime Time, they don't even get it. Oh,
one thing that did stand out for me about this match is how many times we gonna watch this match. It's been the Street Profits versus Andrade and Angel Garza for so long, and the Street Profits keep winning, and it's cool and all.
Hey,
I like the Street Profits, but it's like, can we see them face somebody else then? Like they keep beating them. How do they keep getting rematches?
Hey man, do you want another Viking War Raiders match again? Do you want that?
No, I don't.
that?
I don't want that either. I don't want that.
All right.
Hey, the finish.
You don't want to see another.
The finish. Yeah, I don't want to see that again. Yes, I don't want to see that again.
You don't want to see another fake gator inside of a dumpster. You don't want to see that again.
I don't want to see that again. I definitely do not want to see. Another thing I do want to mention though, it was a weird finish. Like the whole little pin and the ref didn't notice that. Like I can't remember if it was Angel Garza or Andrade, but one of them actually did kick out before the 3 count. It was just like a little weird finish to me, and I'm like, are they about to prolong this freaking storyline again? We about to get a 7-year storyline between Street Profits and Angel Garza and Andrade. I'm like, they keep facing each other at like every pay-per-view, and then they face each other for the titles on Monday Night Raw too, and I'm like, come on now. It's just too much. It's too much of seeing this match. But I do want to say potential star quality, Angel Garza and Montez Ford. I believe those two will be stars once they become single competitors. I believe both of them. So remember I said that. Let us move on to Asuka versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. I mean, that match really didn't last, but, tell me your thoughts.
So all I gotta say is I was surprised they made Asuka go out there, but I really like the character of Bayley. I really like how they got her set up to be extremely heelish, and I feel like this is how a good heel would be, like a good modern heel. So I think what they done with Bayley was a good job. But I'm gonna let you take the reins because I know you want to talk about your girl Sasha Banks. I know you do.
Honestly, the funny thing is, I told you the last time we was talking about this, when they had her lose the championship, the Raw Women's Championship, and then they lost, her and Bayley lost the SmackDown, or not the SmackDown, but the women's tag team titles. I started just to feel like I'm starting to not care no more, sadly, because I see where they're building towards, and I think Sasha's going to be the one to dethrone Bayley for the SmackDown Women's Championship. But once again, can I trust the WWE to give Sasha Banks a legit title reign? And as of now, I can't trust it, because all of her title reigns hasn't been legit title reigns where she's been champion for months, like everyone else. So, Sasha got some revenge, but I'm just not I'm not gonna feel happy until I start to see Sasha Banks have a legit title reign. So that's all I really got to say about that. So,
because I think
yeah,
I was about to say I think Bayley has the longest running title reign right now.
Yeah, she
this
does.
is probably longer than Becky Lynch right now, as I think about it.
Yeah, she's been champion for a while, but I like Bayley. Like you said, she's a great heel right now, which is surprising at first. I didn't know how she would be as a heel, but she's killing it right now, and I'm definitely a fan of Bayley. I'm definitely a fan of heel Bayley as well. So, but let us move on to Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre in an ambulance match for the WWE Championship.
The only thing really bad I have to say about this match. Remember how on Raw too, for you to get interference right, you gotta go through a whole entire bodyguard. You gotta make sure your stats are looking right just to get in the ring. I'm like, man, there have been so many people that interrupt this match. I'm like, can I at least get like a little introduction to seeing people trying to get past the security in their own ways? I would love to see Christian be Captain Charisma and be like, hey man, let me slide through. I would have loved to see Shawn Michaels, find a back entrance. I would have loved the Big Show to just, start slamming people all over the place just to get there. Instead, they just all appeared and just started hitting Randy Orton with everything they got in the bag of chips.
That is very interesting.
And then on top of that, another issue I had. I understand the thing was like, oh, you broke Drew McIntyre's jaw. I'm like, bro, how many times did I see Randy Orton kick this man in the jaw by now? Like, bro. If you're gonna have a man have an injury like this that's been going on for 2-3 weeks, at least try to go through the effort of making me believe it. Put some wires in his mouth. Give him a fake grill or something to help and make it be like, oh, this is the thing that's keeping his jaw together. Instead, this looked like Drew McIntyre just woke up one day. He's like, I'm fine and good to go. Let me get a balanced breakfast real quick.
Yeah,
that's just. Other than that, I do like, once again, them getting creative. Wrestlers move all around the dang stadium in the Thunderdome. And I love it when the Thunderdome is lit up. It is a great thing to look at. I just wish real fans were there. And then one more thing. I'm not mad that Drew won the match, but I do find it kind of ridiculous how he had 3 interferences for this to happen. 3 of them things. But other than that,
and he's
I feel like this, yeah, and it's kind of crazy. I'm like, I just found the only interference I found was kind of unnecessary was like Shawn Michaels showing up out of nowhere. I'm like, Shawn, I know you ain't got a good back, so how did you even get that ladder into place like that? How? Oh man, but here's what I gotta say though. I feel like this match should have been the ender. This should have been the last match instead of the main event. But what do you think of this match?
I mean, I thought it was a good match, but I don't know. I'm just kind of tired of seeing Drew McIntyre win. Now, that ain't nothing against Drew McIntyre. He's been great, and especially during this time, during a pandemic, and there's no fans, and his first championship reign is during this time, and he has to carry the company. He's been doing a great job, but I'm just tired of seeing it now because it's like Randy Orton built this streak where he was just dominating and then keeps losing to Drew McIntyre now, and it's like, did y'all really build up Randy Orton again just for him to lose to Drew McIntyre constantly? And it's like, I get it, he didn't lose. He didn't lose badly, like, because obviously Shawn Michaels, Big Show, they all interfered and everything like that, but I don't know. I'm kind of tired of seeing Randy Orton lose like this now. But I thought it was a good match. It was a long match, but I mean, Randy Orton is always great. Drew McIntyre is always great inside the ring as well. So I thought it was a good match. I just, I'm kind of tired of seeing Drew McIntyre figure a way out to win this, especially at the expense of Randy Orton.
Making Randy Orton look like a god if you think about it. He got super kicked. He got hit by Christian, and then on top of that, he got chokeslammed through a table. They made Randy Orton look like, man, he's a wrestling god over there.
Yeah, they did it right. That's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't lose. Like, he didn't just get dominated. Like, obviously, Randy Orton could continue the storyline and be like, the only reason why I lost is because Christian, Shawn Michaels, and Big Show interfered. So that just means that they're about to prolong this storyline some more, and we'll see what happens. Eventually, I think Randy Orton will win, but we'll see. But let us move on to the main event. Roman Reigns, the Tribal Chief, versus Jey Uso for the Universal title. Now, let me start this one off, because I don't know what you're going to say, but I know what I'm going to say. This Roman Reigns, I don't care what the fans say or anybody else say. This Roman Reigns, heel Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman by his side, this Roman Reigns can be legendary. What I mean by that is, remember all these podcasts where we always been talking about the WWE don't have a star that stands out? This Roman Reigns could be that star that stands out to me for the company, because he seems like he's actually comfortable talking. Not only that, he has Paul Heyman talking for him, but he also is great at talking. And I love the story that him and Jey Uso told, especially when Roman would look at the camera and have Jey Uso facing the camera and basically telling them to call him the Tribal Chief. It was just like, I was like, this is great. Now, that was great to me. I was like, the charisma about Roman Reigns, and then the charisma, just the story overall. I was like, this is the Roman Reigns I wanted to see for all these years. And I'm like, we actually getting to see the star in Roman Reigns. Remember a few podcasts ago, I was like, Chris Jericho was saying if the WWE lets Roman be himself, he was like, he will be a superstar. It looks like they're actually letting him be himself now. And I'm like, this can be good stuff for the WWE.
All right. I'm not gonna disagree with you. I pretty much agree with you. My only things about this match is I feel like this was like a match that didn't hit its complete potential. And I do like the storytelling they did in the match, and I think they did a very good job. I feel like, though, what they should have did is have Jey and Jimmy Uso take on Roman at the same time in a handicap match. Because if you just have, when you just have Jimmy, right? It's
Jey.
It's Jey. Excuse me. When you just have Jey, we know what's gonna happen. We know what was gonna happen, and then you had him come out with the white flag. With the towel. Excuse me. Oh man, I feel like that was a wasted opportunity. Because I understand we're supposed to be making Roman look like the villain. I would have made the villain and built him up a little bit more. But I do like the storytelling, and I do like what I liked a lot about that match was just pretty much the back and forth and the emotion that was going on with those guys. But I feel like that shouldn't have been the main event. That should have been the match where the second to last match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I wrong or?
Oh yeah, it definitely could have been that. It definitely could have been that too. But I could see why they want to end it with Roman is because right now it looks like the WWE is recognizing like this is our guy. This is our guy. This is our next John Cena. Our next whoever you want to say. This is the guy basically the guy that's going to be at the top of the company for the next few years. And I think it's true. I think Roman, he needs a great rivalry to go against to bring the best out of him even more, because now he looks like he's in his most comfortable. He's a heel. He has Paul Heyman by his side. And I even like the whole tribal chief thing. Like, don't call him the big dog, call him the tribal chief. And I think it's dope. And I'm like, this is cool. I think I'm actually gonna give WWE credit for this. I feel like they're doing right by Roman Reigns. They now need to find a great baby face to go against him. A great rivalry. Like Stone Cold had The Rock. Two icons. Hulk Hogan, Andre the Giant. John Cena had freaking Randy Orton, Edge. He had a bunch of people. Even John Cena faced The Rock. Roman needs his next person that's going to bring the best out of him and create a great storyline. Whoever that's going to be.
Yeah, perfect time to bring up somebody from NXT to be that guy.
Yeah.
It may be Adam Cole. It may be Johnny Gargano. Hey. It may be Velveteen Dream. Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah, they gotta bring up somebody. And I think the reason why they couldn't do the handicap idea that you said is I think Jimmy Uso is hurt right now. I think he has like a torn something. His knee is like messed up, like legit messed up, I think. So I think that's the reason why they, he can't wrestle at the moment.
I see.
Yeah. But let us take a quick break. Let's take a quick break, and then after the break, we'll do the last topic, which is the two main events we would like to see at this year's WrestleMania, which is WrestleMania 37. So let us take a quick break. And we're back from the break. And before we get to the topic of the two main events we would like to see at this year's WrestleMania, or this upcoming WrestleMania 37, I wanted to know your theory on Brock Lesnar.
So my theory is like this: the WWE should bring him back. They're gonna bring him back, and they're probably gonna do it for a big money-making pay-per-view type match, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's somebody with interest. And Colby Covington from the UFC seems like to be a big wrestling fan. He even came out to Kurt Angle's music actually at one of the UFCs. So I think that would be like a good selling point. But that's my theory, and then. Because I understand that Brock isn't going to stay away from wrestling not long enough. He's probably going to come back sooner or later. Another thing, though, I feel like the way they should use Brock is if he's going to be your big cash draw and you're only going to use him X amount of times throughout the year, I just say screw it. Only use him once or twice a year and make his event called The Beast in whatever city or town you're trying to promote or try to get a big draw in, right? The reasoning behind that is that the main event is going to be wrestler that has a chance to make his way to SummerSlam or WrestleMania or whatever, and they have a chance to beat Brock Lesnar. And they have to go up against Brock Lesnar to get this chance and opportunity. If they win, they can go to WrestleMania. If they lose, well, it is what it is. You lost to Brock Lesnar. And you have Brock wrestle one or two matches because he's booked to be dominant anyway, so it wouldn't be a problem if he did a handicap match or two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that idea? While, at this pay-per-view, it could be treated as... It could be treated like Fast Track. You know what I'm saying?
I think it would be interesting. I just feel like I think what would the like, I guess my question would be, what would be the end result for the wrestler that doesn't beat Brock Lesnar though? And then not only that, if Brock Lesnar wins, what does he get in the end? Like, does he get a chance to face whoever the champion is at WrestleMania? If so, a bunch of fans are gonna hate on that. No matter what, they like all the fans are tired of seeing Brock Lesnar become champion or even have a chance of facing the champion because he's part-time. But I think it'll be interesting, especially because it can also bring light onto a lot of upcoming wrestlers. Like if you had Brock Lesnar face like a Keith Lee or something like that, which could be a WrestleMania match in itself. It can It can help elevate Keith Lee, especially if Keith Lee wins the match. Or just being in the match can help elevate, especially if he doesn't get dominated by Brock Lesnar. So like upcoming wrestlers, if they don't get dominated by Brock Lesnar, it can bring more attention to them and help them get over it a little bit more. So I think it would be an interesting idea.
I totally agree.
But I do have.
Because I feel like.
Oh, go ahead.
Because like I feel like this, putting the belt on Brock, is a bad idea. So might as well let Brock be the event. You know what I'm saying? And it should be centered around him. But then you did pose a great question: what does Brock get if he wins?
Exactly.
And I'm just thinking, what would be a great stipulation? Maybe your contract, maybe a title shot in some cases. We'll have to wait and see. It's something I have to ponder and think of, because I could probably come up with a good incentive.
Yeah, that'll be the main thing, is what does Brock get? And I do have my own theory on Brock Lesnar too, and I'm pretty sure I'm not sure if I told you on the podcast, but I know I said it in a video before. My theory is you bring back Brock Lesnar, and now that Paul Heyman is working with Roman Reigns and he's a heel, you have Brock Lesnar come back, and guess what? You form a dominant team of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, both being managed by Paul Heyman, both heel, and they just dominate the WWE landscape, where Roman Reigns is the WWE champion and him and Brock Lesnar also becomes tag team champion, because at that point you bring even more spotlight to all these other tag teams and they just dominate everybody until you finally find a great tag team or a great babyface that can dethrone the champions. And I would go as far as to making Brock Lesnar a champion himself, even though a lot of fans are going to hate it. But to me, if you team up Roman Reigns and Brock, and they both being managed by Paul Heyman, so it's like this stable of three, I wouldn't mind seeing Brock Lesnar become Universal Champion, and now they're both dominating both SmackDown and Raw, and then now you're trying to find that baby face that can dethrone this group of Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That's my theory. I think they should run with that.
If that were to happen, right? You know what's going to happen is one of those guys are going to have to do a couple of handicap matches. I'm down to see that, but it's just like, man, whoever loses that handicap match to Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns is going to look bad.
But whoever is this next potential star, it can put them over extreme, because it's the fans are going to hate it. The fans are going to hate seeing Roman and Brock Lesnar win and retain their championships so much that they're going to be looking for someone to dethrone them. And then now you got to build up that next big baby face that can be the star of the company, and whoever that will be. So, I just think that would be a great idea. And then I kind of want to see Brock and Roman Reigns just be a tag team, though. I think they will be phenomenal, though. Like, they will dominate, but it'll also just be, it'll be interesting seeing Brock Lesnar in a tag team and seeing what he can do in a tag team match, and especially with Roman Reigns. I just think that would be a dominant group. But that's my theory. And if WWE runs with it, then you know where they got it from. But let us end it off with our last topic, the two main events we would like to see at this year's WrestleMania, which is WrestleMania 37. And it's up to you if you want to start it, or I can start it.
I guess I could start it, because I only got like one or two matches I would want to see. This is the one I wish we had a young Kurt Angle for. Oh man, God, I keep forgetting his name every time.
Oh, you're talking about I know who you're talking about. You're talking about I forgot his name too. He's on SmackDown, right?
Yeah, he fought Baron Corbin last week, and we were just talking about
exactly. See, I know exactly who you're talking about. Dang, I forgot his name too. I really did.
This is why I need more notes. God dang it, Matt Riddle. God dang it. Yeah. They got to give Matt Riddle a better name. Because it is just like two basic words. Oh, man.
We remember Baron Corbin's name more than Matt Riddle.
God dang it. But yeah, this is what I love to have, like a young Matt Riddle going up against no, excuse me. A young Kurt Angle versus Matt Riddle. I feel like that'd be a great match to watch. But the match I would love to see at WrestleMania would probably be Roman Reigns versus The Rock at WrestleMania. The big build up. Because I feel like the storyline lead is alluding to that. The big build up and all. Or because we didn't really get it. Roman Reigns versus John Cena.
Ooh. That's two good choices. That's two very good choices. The funny thing is, one of those choices is actually my choice as well. I got Roman Reigns versus The Rock as well. That's one I want to see because not only, of course, if the pandemic ends, WrestleMania is supposed to be in Hollywood. The Rock, come on now. The Rock in Hollywood at WrestleMania, that's money. And then Roman Reigns is being called the tribal chief. And guess what? He's beating on his family members. He's beating on his cousins. The Rock is one of his cousins. It's all building up to make sense for Roman Reigns versus The Rock. It just all makes sense. He's already facing some of his family members. And then he's calling himself the tribal chief. It's like, I'll be shocked if we didn't see Roman Reigns versus The Rock because everything is leading up to that. And it will be a big main event. And, it would be something I would love to see. My second match that I would like to see is AJ Styles versus Edge. I want to see AJ Styles versus Edge. Edge come back from his injury. I wouldn't even mind if Seth Rollins was possibly in that match or Seth Rollins versus Edge as well. But I want to see Edge versus one of these, great in-ring wrestlers like a AJ Styles or a Seth Rollins. I would love to see that.
Okay. I like that. I'm not gonna lie though. The number one thing that was on my mind when you're talking was the WWE would do something funny, like make it Rikishi versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
It's like you blow it. You just blow it completely.
What would be cool though would be getting Umaga's son. That would be the perfect way to introduce him.
The funny thing is how great of a family that is. Like, imagine that. They all family. The Rock, the Usos, Roman Reigns, Umaga. Like, that's insane right there. That's just like, that's a family of iconic wrestlers right there. And Rikishi, throw him in there. The dad of the Usos. It's like, come on now. This is just unbelievable. That's why it makes so much sense for The Rock to face Roman Reigns too.
I agree entirely.
But yeah, we came to the end of the show. Next week we definitely got to talk about the most hated storylines in the WWE and wrestling moves in the WWE or in wrestling all together. I definitely have my list of that as well. But we have come to the end of the show, and before we leave, you got any words for the people?
Honestly, to spread the positivity, man. That's all I can say for now.
Yeah. And I did want to mention also before we head out, I wanted to mention one quick thing. And I just want to make sure I got to get the name right real fast. I ain't trying to mess up the name. I definitely want to say rest in peace to Joe Laurinaitis. And to WWE fans, that is Road Warrior Animal. He has passed away. So I wanted to just extend our condolences to Laurinaitis' family, aka Road Warrior Animal. Just wanted to say that before we cut out. I know the Road Warriors is one of the greatest tag teams of all time, and I know a lot of, especially a little bit before my time, but I know a lot of fans look at the Road Warriors as possibly the greatest tag team of all time. So I want to say rest in peace to Joe Laurinaitis, and that is Road Warrior Animal. But I also want to leave y'all with this as well. Make sure y'all check out the Lakers. LeBron about to get that fourth ring. Let's go. And and that's all I got to say. And we'll see you guys again next week. Thank you, and we are the Voiceless Podcast. We'll never be silent. Thank you guys for listening, and thank you guys for watching. We out.